We are the PWX AWA Tag Team Champions, Extreme Thunder, and you're listening to the Smack Raw Podcast, baby.
Might help if I have some audio. There we go. Oh, technical issues, always abundance on the show. But once again, thank you guys for joining us. If you didn't hear it because I had myself muted, I am Kyle. This is the Smack Draw Podcast. I'll do a couple shameless plugs and then we'll get into the show. You can find our show on all of your pretty much your podcast platforms. We're streaming on pretty much everything, and you can always chat with us in the live chat. It always makes its way back to me, who's hosting the show, and I'll be able to give you a shout out on the air. Of course, leave your comments for the show. It always helps out. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, once again, here to cover Raw. Not too much to cover. Honestly, thinking about it, the Raw's and SmackDown falling into a groove. We've been saying it on the show now. As far as these empty arena shows go, they're always fairly decent nowadays, but it's hard to get anything major out of them. And I think we are starting to, Raw particularly, is suffering from the lack of locker room that they have, the lack of talent they have available. We're getting some repetition, maybe some fatigue going on. Personally speaking, I think we're getting spotlight shine on some people. Otherwise, would not have the spotlight. I think Apollo Crews is a big name that he's finally getting his due, which is nice. It's hard to say whether or not you'd blame that on the pandemic or if he was always going to shine. But it is nice to see Apollo Crews starting to get pushed. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just dive into the show. So we open up to a very, very big sigh of relief. Samoa Joe is back on commentary. He has replaced Lawler. Not sure if this is going to be a permanent thing. It has been confirmed, though, that Joe will be on this episode and the next one. Because right after Raw went off the air, they went ahead and taped next week's show. So next week, of course, is pre-taped. We'll see if Joe is on commentary for that. And then throughout the show, got the top 10 list of the Triple H highlights throughout his career. Everything from his debut to his feud with Shawn Michaels and DX run, and then of course ultimately that huge moment where he tore his quad and then returned 8 months later. I remember watching that as a kid. It was really badass. He had the denim on denim. Remember how cool that used to be? But other than that, man, that was it for the side stuff. We opened the show up. MVP segment. I pulls out Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, three guys that are slated for the corporate Money in the Bank ladder match. What's MVP's? What's MVP's place on Raw? If someone could tell me. He does the VIP segments. Is he a manager of sorts? We saw him pop up later on with some talent. I don't know what his role is. I think they're just throwing him in wherever they can fit him, I think is what the case is. But anyways, before anybody can really get any significant promo time, out comes Zelina Vega with her crew consisting of Andrade, Austin Theory, and of course Angel Garza. We saw where this was going. It sets up a very good six-man tag match between all six competitors. Zelina Vega, by the way, wearing, I think, the world record, largest heels I've ever seen in my life. That woman grew a foot with those shoes. But anyways, the six-man tag was good. I mean, it's high octane, it's fast-paced. It was really fun to watch. Of course, the surprising part was Apollo Crews is the one who picked up the victory, pinning Andrade of all people. He's hitting that power bomb that he's got, and he pinned the United States champion. We go backstage. Andrade blames his compadres for the loss, while Apollo Crews is riding high, very happy, very cocky and confident. He's confronted by Andrade, gives him like probably the nastiest slap I have seen in a long time, slaps the taste out of Andrade's mouth, and sets up a U.S. title match for later in the evening. I was sitting there wondering, I was like, man, Apollo, this might be his night. It was very interesting to see. Coming back, we have the triple threat match between Asuka, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. I was wondering, what the hell are we getting this match? This is a pay-per-view match right here. And why the hell are we getting it on an episode of Raw? I was pretty convinced Asuka was out there to take the pin. Side note, Asuka cuts a promo where she's boasting and bragging about how she tapped out Nia Jax 2 years ago. Jesus, I forgot about that. How long has Asuka been around? The match, however, doesn't even get a chance to start. It's a no DQ triple threat match, and it doesn't get to start because Shayna Baszler, who's the last person out, just starts the fight early, so they choose not to ring the bell. I mean, I guess this is cool because obviously you'd have to think that Asuka would aid a pin if that was the case, and you can't have Asuka eating pins again. Can't have that. They're trying to build up Nia Jax, and then of course Shayna Baszler going on a tear, breaking limbs. Can't have Baszler going down, so odd choice. Why make the match at all? Why even have the match? It served almost no purpose. I guess a chance to see Nia Jax standing tall, I guess. Asuka and Shayna Baszler laid out on the outside, threw after a brawl. I don't know. It's kind of odd. It was an odd choice, but hey, it is what it is. I was happy to see that Asuka didn't eat a pin once again, so I guess I can't complain too much. Backstage, before the match begins, Bobby Lashley tells Lana he needs her to hang back. Lana, you got to stay backstage, man. You got to stay backstage. You're a distraction, Bobby tells her. And, of course, when Lana gets offended, naturally, like your wife would do, he says, it's your beauty. It's your beauty. Your good looks. Your good looks are distracting. You got to go back. You got to go back. Got to hang back. Lana blushes. Of course she obliges. Bobby Lashley goes out. He takes on Denzel Dejanet, who's already in the ring. Very quick match. Bobby Lashley wins with a spear. Is this his finisher? I thought he was the Dominator. And he's finishing matches with spears now. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Go back to the Dominator, Bobby. All right. Following that match, we have the rematch between Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Liv Morgan's finisher is officially named the Oblivion, the springboard flatliner, which honestly I think is fucking badass. I'm not gonna lie, man. It's an awesome move. But takes on the match with Ruby Riott. Ruby has now ate 2 pins clean, back to back, 2 weeks. Where is this going? Where's Ruby going? What was the purpose? What was her purpose, man? She's out with an injury. She comes back to make a splash. It's a heel turn, and she hasn't done shit with it. They haven't done nothing with her. After the match, Liv cuts a little bit of a promo. She's interviewed by Byron Saxton, and she says, like a lot of people my age, just trying to find out who I am. She seems optimistic, and it just seems like there's not really a confirmed character. However, I'm willing to forgive that with her in-ring ability obviously developing. Kind of reminds me of Carmella, and then of course you've got Mandy Rose and Carmella. How at first they didn't really shine. You know, you think it's kind of the looks, you know, their looks that are getting them in places, but then you see that over time their in-ring ability develops, and it gives you a chance to get behind them. I'm kind of catching that vibe with Liv Morgan, to be fair. Little blend on the character side, but I'm not gonna lie, man. Her finisher alone's got me sold. Get a promo backstage. Viking Raiders, they want the smoke. This is a nice little comeback, more traditional promo opposed to what we got with the whole ride-along karaoke segment that we got last week. I didn't hate it. A lot of people were upset. Thought it stripped away too much of the mystique of the Viking Raiders. I believe it was Vince on the show. Maybe it was RN. Well, one of them said that they didn't mind it because they believe that it just shows a different aspect of their character. What's important is when it's time to turn it on, that they turn it on. And I believe that's what the Viking Raiders are doing, because this promo, they were in form again. Heard rumor, though, what was it? Sarah Logan was supposedly going to team up with the Viking Raiders at one point, and that fell through with, of course, the Black Wednesday, all those releases. Yeah, Sarah Logan. That would have been cool, I think. I don't know, maybe it would have been bland. Maybe she would have been like Yoko. You know what I mean? Like, just get out of here. We already got something good going. Maybe she wouldn't have added anything to it, you know? Like Bianca, I think, adds awesome for the Street Profits. I think Bianca Belair and the Street Profits, man, it just adds to the overall group. Sarah Logan, not so sure. But who knows? We're probably never going to find out. But would have been interesting. Jinder Mahal returns, former WWE champion. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that he was champ? It was he was our champion for like 8 months, man. Jesus, feels like a fever dream. I don't hate it. Honestly, I actually didn't realize it till I saw him last night. I kind of miss Jinder Mahal. He's got this new Norman Osborn haircut going on, buzzed head, kind of a new look. My wife says he looks like he slimmed down. I didn't notice, but what do you guys think? I know he got jacked. He still looked jacked to me, to be fair. And but says that he looks like he slimmed down a bit. But he comes out and he absolutely destroys Tazawa in a one-sided beatdown. Oh God, I gotta feel bad for Akira, man. Akira Tazawa, one of my favorite cruiserweights out there, one of my favorite wrestlers in general. Yeah, Tazawa just absolutely destroyed. Fell victim to the Colossus. By the way, if any of you guys in the chat or watching, how's he doing in the Cruiserweight Classic? I'm sorry to say NXT has fallen to the back burn because, you know, you got Raw and SmackDown and got AEW. It's just a lot of wrestling. So, unfortunately, I've fallen off with NXT. But I heard he got a win. He got one of the first-round wins. How's he doing in that Cruiserweight tournament for that interim championship, man? I'm actually kind of interested in that. Backstage, Angel Garza continues to hit on Charlie Caruso. This time giving her a rose and asking her to, you know, let's go out sometime. I wonder how his fiance feels about these segments, man. Now, of course, you can't mix storyline and real life, but yeah, I do wonder how his fiance is feeling about this whole thing about him and Charlie Caruso wrapped up. But it's charming and it's funny. It's charming. It is funny. I like it, man. And finally, we get to, well, not finally. I thought it'd be the main event, but it's not. Apollo and Andrade, man. Apollo Crews and Andrade tear the house down. Match of the night, by far. Honestly, it's going to be a contender, even though it's the first show of the week. I already say it's going to be a contender for match of the week. This match was awesome. Full on. I love the story to it as well. The ending's kind of fucked. But story is, early in the match, Apollo Crews does a moonsault, lands stiff on his leg, kind of tweaks his knee, continues to power through, and then later on jumps off the top rope, and then fully blows out his knee. He was very, very close to victory, though, and arguably had the match kept going, he probably did have Andrade's number, but it was a non-finish. Since Apollo blew out his knee, he could not continue. The ref called the match on the spot, kind of deflated the feeling, but don't let it take away from the action that these guys were delivering. It does make Apollo look kind of silly, though. If you tweak your knee on a moonsault, how about you stop doing moonsaults in the match? It's just a thought, man. It's just a thought. You know what I mean? When I would skateboard and I'd blow out my ankle, I get off the board for a little bit. You know what I mean? I avoid it. I do something else that may not put that ligament in that much risk. So just food for thought, Apollo. You hurt yourself in the middle of the match. Try to avoid how you hurt yourself. Just a thought. Street Profits, they lay down the challenge to the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders earlier in the night wanted the smoke. Street Profits says, you will get it. Sets up a tag team championship match for next week on Raw. I'm sure that's going to be good. I believe the Street Profits don't have a single victory over the Raiders. I believe the Raiders have beat them every time they're in the ring together. Of course, Street Profits, I don't believe, they did not get the belts off of the Raiders. The Raiders lost it to Murphy and Seth Rollins, in which case the Street Profits had that weird out of nowhere title match on Raw, and they ended up picking up the win. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. I think Bianca is going to play the straight man and help keep Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins in line. throughout the match. It's just a theory. And anytime that, Montez Ford starts to goof off, I bet Bianca's there to check him. And with that, I bet they retain. That's my prediction. That's what I speculate. We got a clip from the Becky 24 special where she main evented Mania. Oh, it's still touching to this day. It's nice how they, when you go back and you have like the WWE production and they're able to create the narrative and show how impactful it was. Because in the moment, let's not lie, we were all exhausted. WrestleMania had been going on for what felt like 14 hours. You know what I mean? So by the time the main event happened, we were just tired, just naturally tired, man. And so to go back and see it, with the spotlight on it correctly, man, I loved it, man. I'm wondering what's going to go on with Ronda, what she's doing. She went on that rant, that tirade, started calling wrestling fake again. Every time she says wrestling's fake, man, boy, people get mad. People get real mad. It's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, how easily she can just just poke the fire ants nest and people come out the woodworks, man. It's Ronda Rousey. She's an MMA fighter, man, and she was cocky then. Like, what do you expect? But yeah, just wondering. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. I think Vince refers to him as Two Fly. I don't know if that's their official name, but refers to him as Two Fly. They took on some jobbers. This was honestly I hate to say it, you guys. I hate to say it. It was kind of the piss break. I noticed that my group chat for us, the Smack Raw podcast hosts, all of us here, that was when the chat was at its most active, was during their match. Everybody just started talking. We were talking about funny movies and stuff. I think we were talking I brought up basketball and some 90s comedies and stuff. So obviously I wasn't alone in not giving a damn about this match. Which case, Cedric and Ricochet, of course, they ended up winning. Backstage, MVP lays out a challenge. He has a tag team to really put the test to Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, and it, of course, is Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink, two guys that Cedric and Ricochet beat with ease last week. So this was an odd choice, I guess. It was really weird. MVP is supposed to be making a huge impact, and it's literally with a team that got squashed, handily squashed. So I don't know. Backstage, Cruz is on crutches, and his spirit is absolutely crushed. He's destroyed. It's official. I believe they announced it on Raw. I missed it, but it's official. Apollo Crews has been pulled from the Money in the Bank match, which is terrible, man. It's heartbreaking for the guy. I hope it leads to a really cool story, though. I feel like it's going to. I feel like between the slap that Crews delivered, his attitude backstage, kind of just that cockiness to him, I feel like there might be some character development here. Might be nice, man. Might be nice. So we'll have to, of course, keep our eyes out for that. And, yeah, we'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. Then what brings us to the main event, the segment of the night, the Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins contract signing. And just when we think we got rid of him, we see Jerry the King Lawler's there to mediate. Fuck! But it wasn't that bad, actually. When I don't recall who it was. I think it was Drew McIntyre. Told, hey King, you might want to leave. You know how these contract signings go, buddy. How about you skedaddle? And King obliges. He leaves. So King was on our TV for all of maybe 90 seconds, if that. So, hey, it's a start, man. It's a start. But he's at risk, man. How old is that guy? He's 70, right? He's at risk. Why do you even have him there? All the bullshit aside of us saying that, he makes stupid, dated, racist comments as a commentator, or that he's trash on the mic, the man is at risk for coronavirus, folks. Why is he on the show? Why? I could just picture him Vince, I'm really nervous about my health. Roman, he chose to stay home because he's in that category of people where this could be particularly dangerous for. He's I happen to be in that same category, given my age. And Vince doesn't give a shit. King, why are you there? Go home. All right, man? Get yourself fired. Do something, man. Just go home. It's okay. Contract signing. Drew signs the contract immediately. And then Seth Rollins delivers this martyr-like speech. It's like Seth's like, I didn't want to have to take the title from you. I didn't want to have to fight you. It's something I gotta do. It's just this like bullshit thing, and I love it because Drew says it's clear you're full of shit. And I love it, man. I love it when they drop the SH bomb on WWE. They drop it on AEW so often that we're kind of used to it. It still kind of catches you off guard when you hear it on WWE television, and especially from our babyface champion to be saying it too. Could this be the rumored whole? Could this be linked to that rumored where Vince just saying fuck it? I heard that. You know, that was that weird rambling promo he did on SmackDown. It's just like, and people backstage saying like, this is just the fuck it Vince. Just doesn't care anymore. It's probably not. But, well, anyways, another fun line was Drew McIntyre says it's impressive how Seth somehow manages to get his foot in his mouth while his head is up his ass. I thought that was pretty funny too. Seth signs the contract, and Drew gets the upper hand, smashes his head on the table. Little brawl ensues. Seth ends up, I think, getting the stomp. And no. Seth doesn't get the stomp. Looks like Drew's going to get the Claymore kick. Buddy Murphy comes out, interferes. Seth, for a moment there, looks like he's actually going to attack Buddy, but then embraces him. While he's hugging him, he puts Buddy Murphy in harm's way because Drew comes in with the Claymore kick, lays out Buddy Murphy, and that is how Raw goes off the air. It was decent. It was decent, man. Like I said, I can't really complain too much about Raw. My biggest complaints has honestly just been around Jerry the King Lawler. Their segments on Raw have always been on par or above par. I have yet to see anything in an empty arena like completely blow me away. Because I think that's just that missing element of the crowd. But we're over a month into these shows. Like I said, I believe everybody's kind of been falling into a groove with how they're shot, and it's allowing the product to actually be fairly good. We're getting pushes for people that we haven't seen often or previously weren't getting pushes, notably Apollo Crews, Andrade. You got new guys, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza is a big role. Angel Garza is getting a ton of screen time. Zelina Vega herself as well. Arguably too much screen time. I see people cracking jokes online when Raw's on, like place your bets how many times Zelina going to be on the show. Stuff like that. But I will say this. It's enjoyable. I will say, though, given the circumstances, it's a shame they can't condense Raw to 2 hours. I think that would really help. I think they could, if they could condense it to 2 hours and use a third hour to showcase something off of, like, say, the network, like a 24 special or greatest matches. I mean, it's the Triple H's 25th anniversary. Why not give us an hour of some of his best moments and matches instead of a top 10 list that's broken up throughout the 3-hour show? Why not go ahead and just give us an hour of Triple H, you know, and then and devote that time to specific wrestlers of present and past, you know? Just a thought, man, because I think the empty arena 3 hours is always tough. That's why we never do the show afterwards. Between, you know, it's exhausting by that point in night, but it's a lot, man. It's a lot. But anyways, let us know in the comments what you guys thought. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, like always, you guys, thank you for joining us. And until next time, you guys have a good one.